Wall Street's been shaken by a massive $1.5 trillion crash. But this is nothing compared to a $7 trillion sitting on the sidelines, ready to flood into the market. And guess who is positioned to win big? Well, it's none other than Palantir. The Trump insider just made a bold move. No one expected this to happen. The AI revolution is finally starting now. And this might be the biggest opportunity before the end of the year. But what am I even talking about, and why am I being so excited? Well, let me explain. Disclaimer. What a crazy day for Palantir and the entire stock market. The buzz around Palantir's recent contract extension with the U.S. Army is still going strong, even though it's been a while since the news first broke. And now, with Palantir's official social media accounts confirming it, the excitement has surged again. What's interesting is how the hype just doesn't seem to fade. Normally, market excitement over news like this cools down pretty quickly, but that's not happening here. It's a clear sign that this contract extension is a big deal, something with real weight behind it. The community's reaction shows that people recognize just how significant this is for Palantir's future. But while Palantir has its own excitement going on, the rest of the stock market feels completely different today. Just a short while ago, we got the big announcement. We've got another cut. Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve have cut interest rates by 25 basis points. With less than 2 weeks left in the year, this was the final announcement for 2024, making it one of the most anticipated events of the entire year. And it's already sending shockwaves across the market. Interest rate cuts have a massive impact on every single stock out there. Lower rates mean borrowing gets cheaper, which can fuel growth for companies, but it also shifts how investors value stocks. For Palantir, this comes at a critical time. The combination of the U.S. Army contract hype and a more favorable economic environment could amplify its momentum even further. It's the kind of perfect storm that could shape its trajectory as we head into the new year. However, here's the plot twist. Massive crash in the stock market. Nearly $1.5 trillion wiped out. This is the kind of shock that has everyone's heads spinning. To put it into perspective, 1.5 trillion isn't just a big number. It's almost impossible to grasp. That's more than the entire GDP of many countries wiped out in a single day. It's a level of loss that shakes confidence across the board, leaving investors scrambling to figure out what's next. This kind of crash doesn't just hurt stocks, it sends shockwaves through the entire financial system. For companies like Palantir, it could mean heightened volatility, even with all the positive momentum they've got going. It's a stark reminder of how fragile the market can be, even in the middle of big wins. But here's something interesting. Some people are actually happy about this crash, saying things like, the long-awaited healthy correction is finally here. Another chance for those who haven't boarded the train. And honestly, that mindset might make sense. Just look at Palantir's demand. It's remarkable. Even with all this chaos, if you factor in the after-hours action, Palantir is only down a little over $1 for the day. Compare that to the S&P 500, which took a much bigger hit. Palantir is going viral, driving the AI enterprise software revolution, and many believe any dip here is just another buying opportunity. And once again, the Palantir community is proving its strength. They're rallying around the stock, showing confidence even during a rough market day. In fact, they're so passionate that they've done something incredible. They just broke the site selling Palantir CEO Alex Karps' new book. That's the kind of support that makes Palantir stand out. It's not just a stock, it's a movement. But the excitement doesn't stop here. The former senior advisor and son-in-law of Donald Trump just followed Palantir's head of strategic engagement. And people are calling it some high-level strategic engagement. Now, this is actually pretty interesting. With Donald Trump's recent victory in the presidential elections, and as we step into 2025, Trump preparing to take office again, the timing couldn't be more significant for Palantir. Palantir has always had ties to government contracts and defense, areas that are likely to see increased attention under a Trump administration. Having someone so closely connected to Trump show interest in Palantir is more than just a coincidence. It suggests that Palantir could be positioning itself for even more growth and influence, especially with the potential shift in priorities at the top levels of government. For Palantir, this could be a game changer, setting the stage for even deeper involvement in projects that align with the new administration's goals. But before we dive deeper into how important all of this might be, we need to take a step back and understand the recent cuts announcement a bit more. One Twitter user summed it up perfectly, and his tweet gives us a lot to think about. Here's the breakdown. The market went wild after the Federal Reserve's meeting, and the big question is, why did the market react like this? Well, it started with the fact that the Fed announced only 2 rate cuts in 2025 instead of the 3 that many were expecting. But it wasn't just about the cuts themselves. It was more about the lack of clarity around why the cuts are happening now. Inflation is rising, and despite questions from reporters, Jerome Powell's explanation focused on the weak labor market, which didn't sit well with investors. The market was in a lose-lose situation. If there were no cuts, the market would tank. If there were cuts but lowered expectations for the future, the market would tank because people would question the purpose of cutting at all. So, in this kind of environment, the market becomes irrational. By the end of the day, though, nearly every stock had bounced back, showing a solid recovery with many stocks up 2 to 3% from their lows. The algorithms took over, deciding to buy the dip, which signals that there's a lot of cash sitting on the sidelines, ready to jump in when the market drops like this. But now, what does all this mean for Palantir? Well, as the market goes through these wild swings, it's easy to see how Palantir could be a strong player. With $7 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are ready to snap up companies with solid growth potential. And Palantir checks all the boxes. The hype around AI is still real, and Palantir is at the forefront of that revolution. As people begin to buy the dip, Palantir could see more attention from those looking for long-term plays in a market that's trying to find its footing. The talk now is all about buying the dip, with many asking, "Did you buy the dip? And what do you think happened today?" For Palantir, this kind of market moment could be just the opportunity investors have been waiting for, an entry point during a temporary drop, with huge upside potential once the dust settles and the market realizes that the future is still very much AI-driven, with Palantir leading the charge. Even a prominent Wall Street analyst weighed in, pointing out that while we'll see more market volatility in the future, especially with concerns like the Fed and political factors, it doesn't change the broader positive outlook for tech stocks. Despite these bumps, the analyst remains confident in the strength of the tech sector, maintaining the same bullish strategy they've held since earlier in the year. And here's the thing. Days like these should remind you why having a solid cash position is crucial. This is a point that many investors are starting to agree with. It's not about trying to predict exactly what the market will do next, but about staying prepared for whatever happens. The technology behind companies like Palantir hasn't changed, and the fundamentals are still solid. The real difference comes down to your mindset, how you react to market ups and downs. If you can keep a cool head, stay focused on the bigger picture and stick with the long-term vision, you're in a much better position than someone who gets caught up in the short-term emotional swings of the market. But what is your opinion on this? Comment down below. If you're curious to find more, then make sure to click on one of the videos you see on the screen. And with that, we come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed the video, then turn on the notifications bell on this channel. Missing an important Palantir update might make you lose money, so don't risk it. Also, please share this video with as many people as possible. Let's get this news out there.